Our next speaker is Ben Carter. Ben Carter is a studio potter whose practice has extended across several continents. He worked in China at the pottery workshop for several years, and he's also been a frequent visitor to Australia, working at the Ernabella Pukaja Pottery in the far north of South Australia. Ben is also the owner of a website and where he produces a series of podcasts, which are a marvellous resource, not only a personal resource, but for any of you who are teaching, where he has interviewed over 100 ceramic artists talking about their work, different aspects of their practice. Tales of a Red Clay Rambler. Ben's going to talk about his studio practice and also his podcast website. Welcome, Ben.
How's that? Good. Great. Well, you guys have made it to the third day of the conference, and you're still awake, so I appreciate that. To start this, I'm actually going to take you guys to Hollywood so that we can talk about Kevin Bacon. In the U.S. in the 1990s, there was this game that started to come up called the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. And what it was an attempt to connect him through his coworkers or people he had acted with to anyone. So even the king, even Elvis, is connected to Kevin Bacon through Mr. John Wheeler. So you can see that this shows the connectivity that is inherent in the world today. This is an image of a gentleman named Paul Butler. He was an intern at Facebook in 2010. Let me repeat that, an intern. And this is his network. Not the CEO. He was an intern, an unpaid intern. So think about that. If one person in one location can form a network of connections that's represented by this beautiful, almost ghost-like image, then that means that any person anywhere can connect with people all over the world to talk about their work, their passions, and their images that they create. Online communities have been forming since the earliest days of the internet. Chat rooms and news groups have given way to a full-fledged digital landscape, which you can see in this slide here, filled with dozens of social media platforms. So why do we need all of these platforms? The simple answer is that we are social animals that continue to use everything from the telegraph to Twitter in order to communicate faster and more directly. The theme of my talk today is connecting with new audiences online, but you could also call it Go Find Your Digital Soulmates. Your hobbies, your passions, and your intellectual quirks are all shared by thousands of people online. So whether you want to find other cat lovers through YouTube, where this video had 49 million hits, or maybe you want to find some rugby lovers, or some ceramic lovers, there are already groups of people that share your interests. I choose to start this talk by highlighting the connectivity of the internet itself because the first hurdle of building an audience is volunteering to be in an online community. It's nearly impossible to not build community if you're embracing online life. My challenge for you is to join one new online community today. You can do this by signing up for Instagram. You could join the Facebook group Studio Pottery Collectors, or you could start using Twitter and using the hashtag Australian Ceramics. As an extra caveat, I want you to try a platform that is popular with people that are not in your age group. So if that is confusing to you, find your closest teenager and ask them to help you. The good news is that the online audience that you want, it's actually already there. Your job is to let them know that you exist. For you to move from a passive internet consumer to be a fully vested member, you must produce original content. Ownership of social media happens when you set out to communicate across a given network. My second challenge for you today is to focus on communicating about yourself or your business for 15 minutes each day with the goal of producing one post. Your participation level beyond that is up to you, but I want you to think about being rhythmic in your use of social media so that you can see patterns that come up across the networks. You will start to recognize other users from their posts, and conversely, they will start to recognize you. Carol mentioned this before, but one of the tricky aspects of building an audience is that you don't actually know who's received your communication until after you've posted the information. The nature of online media is that you post first and then you see who responds. Using diagnostic tools like Facebook's Insights can help you refine your communications to reach the demographic that responds to you. So you can see from this graph that 69% of my demographic are women from the ages of 35 to 44. The next concept I would like to highlight is that content will only thrive online as long as it captivates its consumer. An average post will be seen for just a few minutes, and sometimes even just a few seconds before someone clicks through and sends that post into digital obscurity, never to be seen again. Now, the real magic happens when your post gets shared. To keep your post alive, you must engineer content that other people want to share. It only takes one person to share a post to start this momentum of virality that is inherent to the internet itself. A shared post is more likely to be reshared because it comes with the endorsement of someone that you already know. Now, I shared an image of Lindsay Ostrader, who is this potter that I'm showing you here, a few years ago on Facebook, and it was shared for 3 years, continually, for over 55 times. And it ebbed and flowed, but it cycled around Facebook over and over again. Not because of me, but because her image was so captivating. So I want you to think about the value of sharing. Now, all platforms don't share the same way. So in Twitter, you can see on this image of someone rock climbing, that green button below there, that is a retweet button. Now, if you click that button, you send any information back out into Twitter instantly. Now, another platform like Instagram, however, does not have that feature. Something like Facebook has a share button, but unfortunately, after Facebook went public in 2012, they changed their algorithm for sharing and searching to try to get advertisers. So now on your Facebook page, about 20% of your posts are going to make it through the paywall to your own followers, unless you pay. But if you pay, they will put it out into the world. So before you get on to a new platform, I want you to think about reading user reviews about sharing and how this works. Now, I want to get into the nitty-gritty of what makes a good post. Creating a popular online presence is not an exact science, but I find that shareable content has 3 characteristics: clarity, curiosity, and diversity. Successful content will be both conceptually and stylistically clear. Kristen Kiefer, who I'm showing you here, is a good example of this with her colorfully styled ceramic images. You know from the first time that you see any of her posts that her pottery is just as fun and playful as it is well-designed. Successful content will reflect the creator's unique and curious perspective on the world. Adam Field is a good example of someone who is using Instagram as a visual sketchbook. Look at the way that he collects images of non-ceramic patterns to inspire his ceramic work. The last quality that I want to talk about is diversity. Successful content does not get bogged down in self-centeredness. Much like the real world, a successful communicator does not have to continually talk about themselves to be respected by their peers. Ayumi Hore, who I'm showing you here, is a great example of someone who posts diverse images through both her own account and through the Pots in Action project. The last idea I want to introduce to you is this idea of a community hub. One of the most effective ways that I've reached new audiences is to create a place where other people can share information about artists. So that is my podcast. And it's built exactly like the central city hubs that are popular, or maybe unpopular, in Canberra. So the podcast is a series of interviews that come out every week, and I interview people like Michael Simon here on the right, or Sarah Yeager on the left, and we talk about their creativity, their ideas, their hopes, their desires, and their failures. So I encourage you guys to check that out. You can do that at talesofAredclayRambler.com. You can also get in touch with me if you have other questions about this through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Carter Pottery. So I want to thank you guys for allowing me to present.